Every pregnancy needs utmost care and attention. But certain pregnancies need a little extra attention. An Rh negative mother carrying an Rh positive baby is at increased risk of complications. BSV is at the forefront to ensure safe delivery in every Rh negative pregnancy.
Hello and welcome to the Outside View presented by Women's Quick Zone and brought to you by Puma, BSV, Food and Wellness, MRI Hospitals and MPL Sports Foundation. The 204 is what England need to win this game against the hosts. So it probably this game told us that no matter if you had a bad start, just make sure that you can finish things on a good note. New Zealand, of course, have that psychological advantage there of scoring 200 runs, but a good comeback from England. To discuss the game that has unfolded so far, I have alongside me Julia and Brittany. Welcome both of you to the show. Coming to you, Julia, first, of course, Kate Cross taking those 3 wickets. How happy are you? Once again, a good prediction out there, but a good comeback from England. They would be disappointed with the way they started, but a good comeback. You're on mute.
Good point. It's been fairly consistent with how their tournament's been going so far. So unfortunately, they still haven't fixed up their woes at the top of the order with their opening bowlers. And your Shrubsole only bowled 3 overs for 21, and Catherine Brunt again just trying way too much early. She just needs to let the ball do the work for her. But they did come back brilliantly. But unfortunately, I think the injury to Sophie Devine was the catalyst that really turned it around for England, which really had nothing to do with them in the end. They were cruising, none 52 after their power play, and then Sophie Devine manages to hurt herself, and then they just get back on top. New Zealand lost their momentum, and admittedly the New Zealand bowlers did bowl well, but I sort of feel that Sophie Devine just having to go off there really stifled the momentum that New Zealand could have potentially got and were on their way to a very big score.
And Kate Cross specifically was impressive with her spell today, Julia. We want to know from you, how would you sum up her bowling today? Looked impressive in the field, first of all, giving you that important breakthroughs, and that's what you predicted. Kate Cross is going to be the pick of the bowler for New Zealand.
Yeah, I just like the deck that they've got at the moment. I just think she bowls in really nice areas. She bowls full and back of her length and straight, made it difficult to hit down the ground. Didn't give any width to be able to take advantage of the pockets at Eden Park, and I just think she just bowled in really, really good areas. Didn't try too much funky stuff. It was pretty simple sort of stuff, and would bowl the odd variation here and there, but generally just made it really difficult for the batters, and making them wanting to come down all the time to get to her because they couldn't quite get away that length that she was bowling. So yeah, it's a really good reward. She probably hasn't got the wickets so far this tournament as many as she would have liked, but she's certainly been economical and causing wickets potentially for the rest of her team.
Just coming into the scenario and silently doing the job for the team, Kate Cross, and of course, Charlie Dean, playing her first ODI World Cup, and how impressive she's looked so far in the game against India, in today's game as well, helped the bowling unit to sort of keep those overs tight and giving those breakthroughs. Brittany.
I did say Charlie Dean is going to be the bowler to watch out. 10 overs, 36, two wickets, and out of those 10 overs, she bowled in about 40 odd dot balls. She was really applied the pressure for New Zealand, as Julia rightfully said. That injury that happened to Devine, it just basically changed the game. And yes, it wasn't anything that England do, but they did take advantage of the opportunity to take back the momentum. And Charlie Dees with the Ferguson in the middle did excellent.
Definitely. So let's have a look at the scorecard to see how the bowling, the batting so far in the first innings has went. We of course saw Susie Bates and Sophie Devine giving the team a very good start out there. Amelia Kerr trying to stitch in that partnership with Emmy Satterthwaite. Apart from Maddie Green, the middle order and the lower middle order didn't really click in this game as well. A concern that has been with New Zealand. But before we get to their batting, Firstly, I'd like to also mention about Sophie Eccleston here, Julia. She didn't started her spell really well, but then somehow came in and then complimented Kate Cross and Charlie Dean, of course, and that was important for the team to come in a group, and some contributions from her as well were important for England to restrict New Zealand and make that lower middle order collapse.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I didn't think she bowled particularly well. She ended up picking up 3 wickets, but they were sort of all the tail. So I really think the others have done the good work for the team. Not saying she's a bad bowler. I still think she's got plenty to offer. Has probably been struggling a little bit in this entire tournament with her consistency. Some games she's been amazing, and other games maybe not so much. But that's where you have other teammates like Charlie Dean, and she bowled some really good balls. Particularly after we got so Nat Siveren and Kate Cross, they were going at 5.2 and over at the 10 over mark, and by the time they'd sort of finished their second spell, their spell leading into the spinners, they'd dropped that down to 4.1. So they'd done a really good job of really wrestling it back and preparing it for the spinners, for the New Zealand batters to have to face. So yeah, I thought Sophie was good at the end, came good, and I think it'll be good for her to have those struggles and those battles throughout the tournament, just to continue to, it's not just going to come easy. You're actually going to have to work for these wickets. But at the same time, I thought it was great that she was supported brilliantly by her other teammates, particularly Charlie Dean.
And of course, about Charlie Dean, it felt that she was putting a lot of effort in every ball she had bowled, and a good bowling unit performance from England helped them to restrict New Zealand early on there. A happy captain there, Heather Knight. She was all smiling there, and why not? Her team made a good comeback. This is a must-win for both the sides. But then coming to New Zealand's batting, how satisfying it was, Brittany, to see Susie Bates and Sophie Devine give that good start to the team. I particularly enjoyed watching Devine find those gaps so effortlessly. It was so unfortunate that she had to retire hurt and came back, of course, a very good character that we saw come from her, that she wanted to fight for the team but was struggling with that strain. But that start that New Zealand got, it felt that New Zealand were going big today, but unfortunately things didn't go their way.
No, not at all. Finally, they got a very decent start between Bates and Devine, the partnership of 61 of 70 ball. But even with that partnership, you still saw Susie Bates was struggling a bit. She scored, I think, between 22 of 36 ball. Yes, it is not a big difference in ball percentage, but she didn't look like she was getting in positions where she was comfortable to hit the ball. And England top order, but bowlers didn't bowl as best that I thought that they could have in terms of Brunt and Anya. But it's good to know that they build a good partnership, but again, the middle order did not help them at all. You look outside of Green, after Green, nobody besides just going and they get into the double figures.
Of course, I was going to come to the middle order, Julia. It hasn't clicked in any of the games, if you could say so. Just one or two players coming in. It was Brooke Halliday in the last game. It was Maddie Green today. But some help and support to that player, we didn't see that coming. We didn't see the lower middle order clicking really. And that's what what is creating a lot of pressure on the top order. And if we see a collapse like today, it is getting difficult for New Zealand. Probably that is costing them matches, because with the ball they did decent in the last match, tried to take the game deep enough, but you have to have good runs on the board to go there and defend against a strong side.
Yeah, obviously the top four are out reasonably early, I suppose, so they didn't really have anyone in that middle order to be supporting them. Obviously, we've got Maddie Green in there. I had a quick look back through a few of the stats, and she's been really good when she's not been coming in the sort of the first sort of 12 overs or so, which she's had to do a couple of times. She's really, and also not coming in at that death end. I think she just needs sort of that middle order, easing her way into it, which is obviously great to know that that's what she's comfortable with, but at the same time she needs to probably be a little bit more adaptable if she's going to be batting in that sort of number 5 position. But at the same time, I thought she did a great job. I still think Katie Martin probably could have come up. I think they just didn't understand their roles. They seemed to panic today, tried to force it a little too soon. Like Katie Martin's playing across the line. There's no need to play off a length and play that sort of shot. They just need to stick it out there for a bit longer. It looked like a little bit of panic of trying to get the run rate going, when in fact that ground itself is going to score the runs for you. It's a beautiful ground. The pitch is beautiful. It's super quick. There's plenty of pockets where you can get your boundaries or even run 2s and 3s. And the disappointing thing for me was the fact that Amelia Kerr and Amy Satterthwaite both got out playing across the line on shots that probably didn't need to happen at that time. So that they need to be a little bit more disciplined with their shots as well, just to ensure that they're sort of low risk but still high scoring on a ground like Eden Park.
Of course, now heading on to the chase. 204 is what England need to chase. We, of course, can't write New Zealand off as of for now, because England have to go there and chase. And let's see how the openers go. Talking about Tammy Bowman first, Brittany. She averages 50 plus against New Zealand. They have time today. And you would want someone like a Daniel White coming today and supporting her well. She hasn't looked good in the tournament so far, but today is a good opportunity for her. Tammy Bowman has been among the runs and probably is the only one who's been standing there tall with the bat for England consistently, if I could say so. But today, the rest of the batters have an opportunity, and heading on in this tournament, they would want to get that sort of rhythm back.
A lot of England batters have a very decent average against New Zealand. So, and as Julia said earlier on, it's a very decent batting wicket, and the outfield is giving you runs. Those odd angles that fielders have to feel at because of the dimension of the boundary is going to be very difficult. Tammy's gonna continue to go the way she normally does, and I think that with the fact that Wyatt is batting on top there, both have a lot of experience opening the batting for England. It's going to make her job a lot easier. I'm excited to see how Danny Wyatt play her innings today. If she's going to be that T20 player Danny Wyatt or the safe player Danny Wyatt.
Your take on the same, Julia? You would want to see that Daniel Wyatt coming into rhythm if England want to, win the other must-win game as well that is in store for them.
Yeah, that's definitely her strength, and I feel that's why they've put her up the order instead of Amy Jones or even bringing in Emma Lamb. So to me, that's her role, and her purpose is to get them off to a good start. It hasn't happened as of yet. I mean, they're only averaging 9.5 for their opening starts at the moment, but at the same time, like Britt said, they've got Beaumont, who's been doing really well, averaging 45.75. So she just needs to put together a few good partnerships today. Like I said, you don't have to force too much. You don't have to play the funky shots and the laps and the cross-bat shots necessarily. You can just work it around and get plenty of space behind the wicket because it's short, it's straight at both ends. So, I just think they just need to play smart cricket today, England, and they should absolutely cruise this in.
They need to play smart cricket, and of course Heather Knight was amongst run in the last game, and that could also be a good positive for England coming there. And we saw Sophie Devine playing a good knock for New Zealand. Unfortunately, because of that injury, she couldn't continue. But coming to New Zealand's bowling, we saw in the last game, Brittany, that Amelia Kerr swung the momentum towards New Zealand in that close encounter that New Zealand played. Today, once again, we saw yesterday Alana King, the leg spinner, got a lot of help from this pitch. So expecting a good spell from Amelia Kerr as well if New Zealand have to come and defend this total.
Of course, Amelia Kerr this is probably one of the most important games she's ever played in her career. So unfortunately, some applied pressure on, but she has to deliver for New Zealand. She have to come in and try to always take wicket and don't allow England to build any partnership. And I'm really hoping that the opening bowlers and most likely to Huhu and Hanaro get some early wickets that could help squeeze England middle order more.
Of course, you mentioned about Leah Tahuhu. Julia, she's been bowling in the middle overs. Do you see her opening the bowling today? Because she's been the highest wicket taker of the team, and you need her today because it's a must-win game and you can't afford to lose this one.
Yeah, no, I can't see her opening. Most of the wickets she's taken have been when she's been bowling in that sort of middle sort of spell. So to me, again, it's probably Hannah Rowe and Jess Kerr opening the bowling again. Jess Kerr's has been bowling beautifully, great swing. Again, Eden Park, the conditions are probably going to suit her. You see how much swing Anya Shrubsall was getting, and Jess Kerr to me is probably just being a bit more consistent than Anya at the moment. So she'll be really challenging that top order, particularly someone like Danny Wyatt, she's bringing the ball into Danny Wyatt. She's going to be wanting to go hard, and she prefers to go over the offside. So it's going to be a real struggle for her. But I really like Hannah Rowe. I think she's been bowling pretty well. She bowls not necessarily exactly the same as Kate Cross, but sort of just hits the deck on a length, and she's actually quite nice. And she's actually got Siver out 3 times, and Siver only averages 3.33 against Hannah Rowe. So I think that might put the English on the back foot for a little bit if Hannah Rowe can really just find her radar nice and early.
And that's what we saw in the last game. Yeah, Brittany.
Yeah, just add on to what Julia said. That's the exact thing I was saying about Hannah Rowe. When I was looking at Kate Cross, I was like, yeah, this look like it's going to be Hannah Rowe. And the fact that, she have that extra, height factor in her, it's going to be really difficult for England when she hit the deck. So, yeah, Hannah Rowe is my pick of the bowler today.
Hannah Rowe is Brittany's pick of the bowler. That's good. In the last match, actually, we saw that with all her variations, she's really impressive with the ball. But a bit of a struggle for New Zealand was picking up the wickets in the middle overs, and that's where the opposition found an edge over them. So just a thought here, Julia, is New Zealand missing the services of Lee Kasperick there?
Maybe a little, yes. I mean, she's a very smart bowler. I do like Frankie Mackay. I think she's been reasonably successful. She's picked up sort of 4 or 5 wickets, maybe a little more expensively than Lee Kasperick would have. It just, to me, just means there's a bit more pressure on Amelia Kerr to continue to really push her bowling and keep it tight and be that wicket-taking bowler that they need, because they have been struggling to take wickets. England, obviously, they've been struggling to take wickets as well. The only other game that they have taken 10 wickets in, they actually won. So all the others, they haven't been able to take wickets. So taking wickets is such a vital thing for an ODI team. And I think that's where, if Leah Tahuhu can bowl really tight lines, and she has been bowling a lot, more consistently, I feel, in those middle overs, she'll complement the couple of spinners that she might be able to get at the other end as well. So I think it's just that consistency. Don't try too much. I think the pitch and the batters make England put the pressure back on them and make them do something different if you're bowling in really good areas and they're unable to get your way. So that's how I sort of feel that they need to do. Kasperick, yes, a bit of a loss, but I think Frankie Mackay and Amelia Kerr could be quite effective today.
Definitely. And just your thoughts on Brittany. Do you think 204 is a good total enough for New Zealand to go there and defend? Because England hasn't looked very comfortable while chasing down the total. If you get those early breakthroughs, they can still put up the batters under pressure. So it's a decent total for New Zealand to keep their spirits high and then go to the ground. Probably that's what they would do.
Yes, I believe it's a defendable total. Yes, New Zealand would have liked to get at least 40 to 50 runs more on the board. But, it's cricket. Sometimes you don't always go the way you want to. So plan A all the way, no plan B. This is just to go there and defend that. And as I said, the most important aspect of the game for New Zealand right now will be their opening bowlers. And I heard that Sivong spoke about, the win factor and bowling at the correct end. So I would love to see which end probably Hannah Rowe, Jessica, or the Leah Tahuhu pick up.
Definitely. And any particular battle that you're looking forward to, Julia, in this chase?
I'm probably...
She takes time. She doesn't want to...
Well, I've got to get a feel for it. I'm thinking I think Tammy Beaumont will again be... I think she's very annoyed at herself for not going on with a few of the innings that she's had so far. So to me, she could really set up this innings for the rest of England, and I think she also needs to. I think that's partially her role at the top of the order, is to make sure that she's batting deep, so that if they do lose wickets in that attacking middle section, I think that's what they need, is that top order start seeing that platform a little better. Their middle overs have been okay. Like they've got, some good runs from Siver on occasions and some Dunkley runs, and they've had a few middle order. It's been okay and towards the death, but it's the openings that are letting them down. And if they're trying to prepare for what's coming up, I think that's really important that Tammy Beaumont continues on her merry way of scoring lots of runs and just gets England a bit more confident with their opening pair.
And of course, to our viewers who are watching in, we've got a hi from Roberta. Hi, Roberta from all of us there. So first asking you, okay, that there's a hey girls from her coming in. So of course, Brittany, who are you supporting in this game right now? Who do you think is taking it, the must win? Because that's what is going to decide a big deal about the top 4 today.
Yeah, so I have to go with New Zealand for the win today because I did not pick England in my top 4. So yeah,
Who are your top 4?
my top 4 was New Zealand, South Africa, India, and West Indies. That's my top 4.
No Australia there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I already got one wrong, so I cannot take any more.
Julia is not happy with you there.
No, not happy, but that's okay. I can handle that. I put your West Indies there, and you don't turn the favour.
Did you include West Indies in your top 4?
Absolutely, yeah. I had West Indies in my top 4. South Africa, no India, no England in my top 4. So I need New Zealand to win as well. Whether they will or not is a different story. But obviously, I'd love New Zealand to win today. Just to one as a home team, I think it'd be fantastic for them to get through. I think they've had a lot of confidence leading into this World Cup, and it's just starting to fall away a little bit now. But if Sophie Devine doesn't get out there as captain, that might be another crucial factor. Amy Southwaite, very competent, but it's just that spiritual leader sort of thing missing from New Zealand. That may actually work in their favour. It might actually be, we're going to do this for Sophie because she's sitting off and she's injured herself. So sometimes those things can turn around and work in your favour. So I'm going for New Zealand, but I'm assuming England will win.
Okay, so both our experts are on the same page for now. 204 is what England needs to chase here. We're expecting that we get to see the Sophie Devine on the pitch now because her captaincy, her tactics would be important for New Zealand to give them this win as well. But nevertheless, England have to chase this total. And in the game against West Indies and Bangladesh, we said the same thing, that though it's a modest total, the runs have to be scored. So it's going to be an interesting contest because both the teams know that this has to be the must-win game and they have to give all that they have got to just keep their hopes alive to make it to the top 4. So we'll of course join you for the post-match show with Julia and Brittany. Until then, you stay tuned to Women's Cricket Zone for all the updates on women's cricket.